Hey guys, and you 1.9% females from Alaska. How's it going? Today in the shop we've got this Gravely Pro Turn 260 commercial mower. Deck is all fucked up. Somebody had their way with the adjustment screws, and you can see, well, you might not be able to see, but I can see that this thing is clearly out of whack. Now the guy that adjusted this I used to have as a mechanic, and I know personally that this guy could fuck up a bowling ball. So first thing I'm going to do, I have no service manual on this machine. The first thing I'm going to do is see if I can locate what he adjusted by shining parts of the bolts and get it back to where it was, and we're going to start from there. Obviously you want to make sure that the blade's not bent or the spindle shaft isn't bent, because they originally hit something and bent the blade. So let's go take a look. Well, fuck me, Freddy Fender. You see that? Right there, that's where that used to be. Let's put it back. Okay, got it adjusted back to where it was. Now you'll see that the head of the bolt is off of the bracket. Well, that may puzzle the average dope smoking lawnmower mechanic, but not me. Looks like we got a pivot here, and there must be a nut on the back side of this thing. When I loosen that up, I bet you the deck will drop down. Alright, so I loosened up the nut on the back side. You can see this thing's looser than a $2 whore on nickel night. If I loosen up this pivot bolt, I'm thinking that the deck's going to drop. It'll be right where we want it. Oh, look at that shit. I'll be kissed my ass. Well, it's the same setup on the passenger side. That's right, passenger side. I said it. Except the bolt's on the inside, so I'm going to have a little bit harder time seeing the shiny part. But I could definitely tell he was here, because we've got some ring marks that indicating that this thing was loose and rattling around, and also the rounded edges of the 3/4 nut. It's pretty common with somebody using a 19mm thinking, yeah, it's the same size. No, it fucking ain't. Well, this side's a little harder to figure out because it looks like he ran the bolt all the way in and out, so he didn't leave any marks where it used to be. I'm just going to assume that it was in the same spot as the other one, so I'll go back about 3 turns and drop this side too. That's about right. Timber. Alright, it's visibly better, but it's still crooked as a hooker, so it's tape measure time. Alright, most of the time they call for a 3/8 pitch to the front on a deck like this. Here we got about 4 inches. Here we got about 4 inches. Alright, it's actually 3/3. Fuck. Goddamn thing, I can't fucking read it. Got 18 fucking tape measures and I can't find one of them when I need it. What the fuck? Now here's another trick to get you marginally close. I could tell just by eyeballing it that the back of the deck is lower than the front, which it's supposed to be pitched the other way. So, easy trick. You put a level on there, set it straight to where it's level, and then you can figure out by looking how far the level came up off the deck about how much you got to adjust it and which way. Well, it came up off the back about 1/4 inch, so I'm going to lower the front 1/4 inch rather than raise the back 1/4 inch for no real good reason. Now, just to save a little time, I'm going to pull the same shenanigans over here on the passenger side. Leaves the level, see how far this pitch is off. It's back again. Oh fuck, this is almost like a 1/2 inch. God, this guy could fuck up a free lunch, man. So I was thinking, I do have a good reason why I want to lower the front and not raise the back. In a commercial machine, you always want to be able to cut the grass as low as you can without killing it. That makes it look pretty, and you don't have to go back as often, I guess. I don't know. I was never a landscaper. I worked for a bunch of them, especially the golf courses. They want that shit tight. Alright, she's 5 and 64/32. So I got to take a 1/2 inch off of that. I'm going to loosen up this lock nut first. I'm going to loosen up this pivot bolt first, so the deck weight is hanging on this bolt head. Then I'm going to loosen this till I come up with 4. It's a 1/2 inch off of that. 5 1/4. Figures. The only good 3/4 I got's a nice shorty. All my long ones are at home. So here's a little trick for you baby birds. Get the good wrench on there. Then take the shitty wrench. Use that as a pry bar. Oh snap. Watch your knuckles. Oh yeah. Holy fuck. Ugh. Okay. Now, I think, let's see here. Where am I? This thing's a bitch to read, man. Been using this thing for 25 years. Okay. Fucking tape measures are all at my house. Oh, this says 6 1/2. Wow. It just keeps getting bigger. Oh, I'll be goddamn, it's working. Alright, that's 6. Like my dad always said, always use the right tool. Alright, let's see what Mr. Level says. Oh man, that's the picture that you get in the dictionary when you look up pussy good. Alright, this side looks a lot lower. Oh, back on the driver's side. Holy shit. The driver's side is 1 1/4 inch lower than the passenger side. So, you know what? Fuck the pitch front to back. I gotta make this thing straight before I go anywhere else. And I'm getting thirsty. My buddy Wood's coming over. We're gonna put a hurtin' on a case of Coors Light. Maybe talk a little shit. I'm gonna have to make this a Sunday project. Getting it back to where I think it was before the guy started fucking with it. But goddamn, could this guy fuck up a wet dream or what? Man, you see how easy I throw in the towel? I got a better idea. I'm gonna bring this up a little bit, and then I'm gonna take this thing home and cut my own grass with it. That way if I stripe it, it ain't gonna bother anybody. Need 6 inches. That's what she said. Oh man, we gotta go a fucking mile yet. What the fuck? Well, this is the only patch of turf I got at La Casa de Grisa. That ain't gonna tell me shit. Well, aesthetically it's more pleasing to the eye, but it ain't feng shui, that's for sure. I'm gonna fuck around with this just a little bit more and then go cut some grass, probably at my house. Well, both sides of the deck are 5 1/4 now from the floor. It still has a little bit of a stripe though. Thing cuts like shit. It's set too low. And you got this stripe coming off the left hand side, so I'm gonna have to check those blades, see if one's bent or spindle shaft may be bent a little bit. Something's not right still. Could also be the number of spacers between the blades, because you know who's changing them. I think I mentioned before the guy's kind of yeah, alright boys and girls, got that thing cut and straight, but I did not film it because frankly the repairs were going to be a little hacky. So I'm going to do a little show and tell you how I figured it out. First of all, the deck, the reason that they put it in a triangular fashion is because the blades have to overlap each other. So they put this one forward, so the length of this blade is going to cover these two right here and here. Right? So if you got one striping, you know it's not that the blades are missing the grass or that there might be a piece of, I mean, I suppose theoretically you could have a blade that's got a broken tip, but these are all good blades. None of them were bent. Turns out The spindle housing got hit super fucking hard by something in this fashion, and it's coming out of the bottom. This is exaggerated, but it was coming out of the bottom on an angle like that, right? So here is where the grass was getting striped. Now, it was only lower 1/4 of an inch than the other two, but it's enough to make a difference. So once I got the deck leveled, I tried to straighten out the deck by beating on it, and it was just too much work. I was going to have to take the whole thing off, straighten it, tweak it, do a bunch of shit with a bunch of tools that I just don't have at the shop anymore, and I really needed to get this done. So what I did, here's the hacky part, I put a 1/4 inch spacer underneath each one of the center and the outer right hand blades, dropping the blade to the same tip. Cuts like a fucking golf course, man. So I explained the repair to the owner. I explained the repair to the mechanic, and he's probably going to forget that I ever said that. Next time he changes the blades, it's going to be striping again. But that's going to be his problem, not mine. This job's done. Anyway, hope you understood that. Thanks for watching.